been in my background in my time is to notice. I also noticed, I saw when I was there in town, little Timmy Kirkjian was there and Ken Rosenthal was there. And then you notice Greg Amsinger, who I think is like 6'6". I mean, he is a giant of a man when it comes to baseball journalists. He made a kind of a giant swing yesterday on the afternoon show with Bob and Dave talking about J.P. Crawford. I don't know if you've heard this yet. Here was Amsinger kind of playing out the situation with JP and throwing one very intriguing name into the mix.
I do not think Fernando Tatis Jr. is going to be a happy camper playing right field. I don't think he will be. He's saying all the right things right now, but he wants to be a shortstop. He thinks he's the best shortstop that's ever been born. He's that confident of a guy. I don't know why, guys. I just feel like down the road, if that thing goes south, if that's sour, Fernando Tatis playing right field, I could just, if A.J. Preller's looking for what he doesn't have, which is young starting pitching depth, because he gave it all away to go get Juan Soto, there's a match, man. There's a match. And Tatis to the Mariners to be the wingman, Julio Rodriguez and Jared Kelenic and Teoscar Hernandez, that would be massive. You're going to have to trade a lot of young pitching to San Diego, which they're inevitably going to need. But again, I'm getting ahead of it. I'm just saying J.P. Crawford is a make or break year for J.P. Crawford. I'll just say that.
They share that beautiful facility down there in Peoria. Give me the Shannon Drayer smell test to that.
Well, they obviously have had a lot of success in trading with the Padres. That's one of the friendly trade partners for the Seattle Mariners, so it's always worth keeping an eye on something like that. But I think you got to see where Tatis is, and I think that one of the things, and this sounds like, well, you'd bring anybody in if it's the right talent. They are very sincere, and guys have got to fit into the group that you have. And so I think eyes are going to be on Tatis as he comes back. I mean, he's got some pretty big check marks against him right now, and I think that I think that it will take some time, and they have that time. They don't have second base filled for next year, but I don't think that is anything. If it were to happen, that you would see quickly. I think that there are a lot of answers that you would have to see, and it's also just an absolute monster contract. And how does that fit? I don't think that's going to fit any better than the $300 million contracts did in the off season. And, I think just too many question marks on that one, but I wouldn't discount it or just say it's absolutely impossible.
I wouldn't either. And the one thing I agree with almost everything you just said there, Shannon. It's great analysis because you're not saying no, but probably not right now. The only thing I would say is, yes, it's a lot of money, but unlike Trey Turner and some of the guys that got paid this year, it only goes through his age 35 season, not his age 41 season. And that's a pretty significant difference when you're talking about how, the length of these contracts.
Absolutely. And then I think you have to really know who the person is at that point. Because that's a long time.
Yeah,
and that's a lot of money. And that's a delicate balance, not a delicate balance that you have with this team. This team's in a great place. But how do you absorb if there's another motorcycle accident? Or how do you absorb if there is another PED situation? That's a tough one. You hope that he grows up and can be the player that he is supposed to be right now. But that's a big risk to throw into a clubhouse.
What's kind of funny about Tatis, since we're talking about him, is as much as it is a huge, long contract, it doesn't really get big for a few more years. So just looking at the numbers on Baseball Reference, this year, he only makes $7.7 million. Not that that's not a lot of money, but in the realm of superstar baseball players. Next year, that number goes up to 11.7. It's not until 2025 that you pay 20.7 for 3 years, then 25, then 36. The $36 million doesn't start until 2029. When, by the way, he turns 30, and you're like, okay, not as interested in paying that much money. But it's interesting that he's not getting paid nearly as much because they bought out some of those arbitration years. It doesn't hurt you that much short term.
No, I wasn't aware that it was that backloaded. And, yeah, absolutely. And you see the same thing with Julio, too. And, they're going to keep an eye on their own guys, and that's probably going to be a priority. Can you lock up George Kirby? Can you lock up Logan Gilbert, Cal Raleigh? All those players, very important to them. And, also what you have coming as far as a shortstop goes. But there is, you've got nothing that would be close to the offense that Tatis could provide. So it would be an interesting puzzle. The math is very, very interesting along those lines. And, and he wouldn't be prohibitive at all up until about the $36 million mark. I mean, I wouldn't really even flinch at the 20 and the 25 in that. So, yeah, worth taking a closer look at.